There are many things that go into having a career in audio and having a career in filmmaking in general. And a major part of that is luck. I mean, unfortunately, there are so many things and so many variables that are outside of your control that need to go right to let this dream job happen. Welcome back to the Rebel Tech channel. I'm Justin, and in this video we're going to be talking about getting into the film / audio / production world. And I'm going to talk about my career, how I got started, what I'm doing, how it's going, and really just explain to you some things that you might take in your own personal journey to possibly make this a career as well. Now, the first thing I want to get into is my career, how it became, what I did to get into these scenarios. A lot of it was dumb luck, but a lot of it was also my hard work after I finally got my foot in the door. The thing is, as I am realizing right now, this might not be a career that you can have as a steady job. A lot of times with these film production jobs, if you're crew, a lot of times you can find a little bit more work. If you're acting, if you're working as a in front of the camera type person, maybe it's a little less. It's still a luxury as a job, and it's not something that is given to everyone. It's a job that you need to put the work in, and a lot of times it's not a matter of what you know, it's a matter of who you know. I could say that about a lot of things in my life. I could say it about every job I've applied to, every job that I've failed at, and it's one of those things that it's just a tough pill to swallow. But regardless, let's start off from the beginning and let's go to today. So about 12 years ago, I was just starting out in college and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had no clue what I wanted to do. At the beginning, I was going to be a mechanical engineer. I was in engineering classes, and the beginning of that 4-year journey, I was at a community college so I could pay a cheap price for my core classes and get some of the physics and all that stuff in, and then go to a 4-year school to get the full degree. About a year in, I realized I couldn't pass calculus. That was a disaster. It just didn't make any sense to me. Eventually, I had to do it again, and I passed it, thankfully, with C. After my first year, 12 years ago now, I got into studio recording technology. It was a program that you could get a certificate in for just learning how to record audio in a studio setting. Basic, simple stuff. You worked on consoles. You worked on different types of digital workspaces. Now, 12 years ago, this is right at the time where Pro Tools was getting its full use out of production companies and studios and all types of stuff. And we had the big A to D converters. We had so many things going on and so many like inputs, and they still had patch bays. It wasn't fully digital like it is today. Of course, nowadays, you throw one interface and you could get all your patch bay stuff and your routing of your bus channels and everything all in the software, which is a lot easier than it was back in the day. I kind of miss the whole everything being physical and being able to turn things. You still get it here and there, but it's not as common as it was back then. I know I sound like a boomer. So now, flash forward, we're in about 2014, 2015. I had just finished up my bachelor's degree. I just graduated. I couldn't find a job, and I needed something to do. If you guys have been here before, you probably have heard me say that I was into sailing. I taught sailing for a while. For the better part of a decade, I taught sailing and made some good money off of it. Paid for school, basically. So I did that, and I was doing some local jobs teaching sailing, and it was a seasonal job. So it only ran like 7, maybe 8 months out of the year, with prep for the season and breakdown of the season. You got a little extra wiggle room with the work. But the problem was there was 4 months of nothing. Fortunately, one of the girls I worked with her boyfriend was getting into film and production. He was just graduating high school, getting into college, and wants to become a director, filmmaker, all that stuff. And he needed an audio person, and he was working on a couple of his first productions and really needed an audio person. I said, hey, I have some background in audio. I don't do field work, but I could learn. So I met my friend, Tyler, and he and I have been working together for the better part of the last 6 years. On and off, doing jobs, and making a cool living as film production people. Maybe not consistently, maybe not as high level as we wanted it to be, but it was at a point where we can pay the bills and we can have fun with it, learn our craft, and get good at it. And really, that job and that relationship I have with Tyler has really been the foundation of this channel, because it gave me the opportunity to take the bull by the horns and actually go and make stuff and learn on the job and learn so that I could be a better worker in that film production world. So in that second year of working with Tyler, I needed a job because I was planning on doing this as a living, but it was few and far between. I didn't have much experience. I was trying to get the experience. So in that second year, I took a job with my dad. My dad had a route to run, and I did that for about almost 2 years. I ran a cake route, and delivering cake just to stores, basically a typical vendor job. And I was doing the audio on the side. So I was making some good money living at home, and I was working the audio job, I was working the cake job, and anything I could pick up. And it was working really nice and working really well. Around 2017, mid-2017, I quit. I left the route business, and it was a lot of like things coming to a head. And we're in the middle of 2017, and I was like, okay, let's go dive back into this and let's make it a career. It started to get pretty good again. I was getting consistent work, and we were doing really well, making a couple of short films on our own and trying to get some momentum of people realizing we are serious about this. It worked for a while. It worked for the better part of a year. I started an LLC. And I was trying to make a business out of it and trying to really make it work. I applied for some acting jobs, some background work. I got into a background job for a History Channel show, which was cool. I was on TV for just a split second. It was kind of sweet. So now flash forward, beginning of 2019. I was doing a couple of jobs with Tyler with this other production company. It was a starter company, and they wanted to make a office building and then build a studio within it. Cool. So that got me through most of 2019 working that job, and then eventually transitioning back into audio full time as a film production person. And I realized midway through 2019 that wasn't happening, and I needed another job. And it's coming down to, hey, I'm really trying, you're seeing a trend here. I'm really trying to do it, and then it just tapers off, and I kind of just realize I need to get a real job, or quote unquote real job, and make a decision on, is this really going to be a real job, or is it going to be just something I'm going to do on the side, and it's going to be cool to make some cash just doing what I like to do as a hobby. So mid-2019, Tyler, his uncle worked for a company, HVAC and stuff like that. I have a background in HVAC, and my grandpa was an engineer and all that stuff for HVAC companies and boiler rooms, air conditioning, all that stuff. So in mid-2019, I took that job. Really enjoyed it. It was like an apprenticeship, and it was really nice. Got to run 2 different jobs on my own doing tune-ups on boilers. It was basically it. And 6 months later, we're talking January, February of 2020, I got laid off. There was no spot for me, and they didn't have a place for me. Of course, I didn't have my licensing, which I'm in the middle of. I'm halfway there to getting my proper license for my AC EPA stuff. And yeah, I got to a point where I was ready to go back into it. And I was doing the audio on the side as well. Still, I kept it on the side. I kept it in the loop. Maybe one day something hits and some production company wants to take me on. Then COVID hit, and the birth of this channel happened. And there was a lot going on. So now, we're at April of 2020, in the timeline of me talking about my career and what I've done. That was a lot looking back, and I obviously left a ton of stuff out. There's a lot more stuff that happened in my life, but those are the major things when it comes to work and my job, school, and things like that. So if you guys have indulged me in my career and my life since starting with audio and stuff like that, I appreciate it. If you just skip to this point, that's fine too. I appreciate you just checking out the video. Really means a lot that people actually care and want to watch stuff on this. And this video was inspired by a comment of someone interested in career and audio and stuff like that, and me talking about my career. So, what kind of jobs have I worked in? The good, the bad, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what goes on a film production set or an indie set. I really haven't worked on a big production set as a crew member. I worked as a extra and stuff like that. So let's run through this. As far as client work is concerned, I've done some web series for people that just are trying to promote their business or promote something that's going on with their lives, or they just wanted to make something. I did some promotional work, a lot of promotional work for online ads for spas, and there was a spa, there was a limousine company, there was catering and things like that, all types of standard, hey, let's just do this job, make it look great and make it look cool, and of course, get the paycheck, get paid. That's the major thing. And of course, you try to do everything and every job to its fullest potential, but sometimes you got to cut some corners, like anything. If the job isn't as big, maybe you don't do as much. Of course, you're still going to give a good quality piece of content, but you might take a little bit of steps back when it comes to what you're actually going to do. And you explain this to the person, you explain this to the client, saying, hey, if you want all this stuff done, this extra stuff, it's going to cost a little bit more. If you want a little less, this is stuff that we're going to be taking off. So that's why always write up a contract, always write up specifics of what you're going to be doing so that there's no confusion on the back end. And it gets very, very annoying when you're in the editing process and you send them a sample and they say, oh, what about this? What about that? If you have it in writing, then you could say, this, and this were part of this. What you're saying was not. And explain that to them. So have it in writing. It makes the process that much easier and there's no confusion. Now, as far as my creative stuff, the stuff that I've helped Tyler work on, his short films and things like that. Some collaborations, and I've done some writing, but we haven't really put that into film and into a video yet, or a short film or whatever. I have some things in the works that eventually I'm going to do, but I'm still in the process of actually finishing them. And I have a book, as I've said plenty of times, that I want to finish. So I might finish that first before I even dive into my short films. And I'm not going to get into my film career just yet. I have videos planned, and I had this thought. I was going to be like, should I talk about these? No, I'm not going to, because I'm going to be doing reaction videos to all these short films. There's no restrictions. I could talk about it. Tyler was the only person that I had to answer to, and he said, yeah, he gave me all the files, and we're going to do reaction videos on films that I worked on, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. We had some good moments. We had a lot of good moments, actually. But there was some earlier stuff that it's a little rough to watch, but it's still fun to look back on. But generally speaking, if I was to talk about things I really liked and what I disliked on set, as far as likes are concerned, I would say the process, the saying rolling and everyone's in sequence with each other and everything going on, the structure, and it's really nice to see when everything's firing on all cylinders, and it's just really cool to see this work. I mean, I've worked tons of jobs where I'm working with my hands, working on cars, working on construction, working on whatever, and it's really nice to see when things are all firing all at something. Like when I work HVAC and the boiler turns right on, it's running, it's hot, it's good, all the radiators and all the baseboards are hot, and then you don't have to worry about it. There's hiccups here and there, which leads me to my dislikes. Bad communication. That's probably my biggest thing. I've worked with some producers and some directors other than Tyler, and Tyler and I have had our differences, but for the most part we get along and we have a good relationship and we work well together. I mean, 6 years later we're still working together, and that means that we're not about to kill each other. There are times where we might feel that way, but it's not anything serious. We're like brothers, we really are, and it's really cool to have that. It's really cool to have that relationship with somebody. But I have worked with other people that weren't as easy to work with and haven't had the relationship with them. The communication, the rapport, the everything that goes into trusting each other to get a job done. And that's tough. That's probably the biggest one. So now we got 2 more things I want to cover in this video. So my favorite film I ever worked on so far, there's a short film I'm going to be working on this weekend. Well, the recording of this is Monday the 19th of April. Yeah, that's the month. Regardless, my favorite one I've worked on so far was our feature film. It was called Not Alone. And it was basically a coming of age kind of movie based around a kid who his father leaves and he's got his younger brother. He has to be the adult male figure in the life of the brother, and then drugs happen, all things like that. And I don't want to give it away because maybe one day we'll have it out on some type of streaming platform. It was out for a little bit, but Tyler decided to go and re-edit it, so keep an eye out for my reaction video, so you'll see some of it. But my favorite client-based one was a trip we took to Arizona. It was a paid trip and all that stuff. It was cool. I got to see the Grand Canyon. I got to see Sedona, all this stuff, Phoenix. It was really, really nice. And it was at that point where I realized that I've done something that I was able to do because of my work, and something that allowed me to have someone appreciate my work and actually trust us to do a job for them. And it was just one time, it was a one-off thing, but regardless, it was still a fun experience. And like I said, Tyler was like a brother to me, so it was really nice to see us get to that point. And even, I said this at the time, even if it's the highest point in our career, it was very cool to have that happen for us. So I'm very happy. That was an experience that I had, and it was something that I am very proud of. It's up there with my job I had in California, where I worked a sailing job in Redondo Beach, and it was something off of the work that I did, someone appreciating my work and my work ethic, and really just something that allowed me to do something cool from what I've done. That kind of thing. All right, so one more thing we're gonna get into and we're gonna talk about. My advice to anyone that wants to get into production, into film, audio, whatever it is, this line of work. It's a tough one, and it's not going to be an easy thing to explain to you guys. The best way I can say it is, first, expect to fail. Expect to be very disappointed in some work that you're going to do because your first couple of things are going to suck. It's going to be a big pile of crap. You might have 10 things piled up in a large pile of crap, but there's that one, that 11th thing that you make, and it surpasses all the bad, and it doesn't put the bad away. It just shows you that those bad things led to this good thing. And even after that good thing happens, there will be more crappy things that happen and that you make and you try things out. But the good thing is, if you try these things and you experiment and you let things happen naturally and give it your all and don't be lazy, work hard, even if it's a pile of crap, you know that you put good work into it and you tried something new. You put something in there that was just beyond what you expected, but it might not have worked out, but still you did it, you tried, you gave it your best effort. So always have that, work hard and know that you're gonna fail and expect to fail, because you gotta set your expectations a little bit lower and keep your mind intact, because you could get in your own head, I've done it in the past, and say, oh my God, I'm horrible, I'm never gonna make it, or whatever it is. So don't get into that rut. I've been there, done that, and I have tons of t-shirts to prove it. The second piece of advice I have for you guys is stay in your lane for the most part. If you're an audio person, stick to your audio. Make sure you be the best audio person you can be. If you're a filmmaker, if you're a cinematographer, if you're working with a camera, be the best cinematographer you can be. I've gotten to a point where I can do a little bit more. I'm very comfortable with my audio, but for the most part, I stick to my guns. I stick to my audio. For this shoot we're going to be doing this weekend, I will be a technical supervisor, so making sure all the things work. But that's really in the prep. When we're actually shooting, I do my audio. Everyone leave me alone. I'm going to just do my job. You say you're rolling, I say I'm rolling, and we're done. I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, and I expect everyone else to be doing the same. Now, the third and last thing for my advice to you, enjoy your ass off. Enjoy your effing ass off. What I mean by that is, this is not a job that I said before that is guaranteed. It's not a job that a lot of people have the opportunity to do. So enjoy it. If you have the opportunity to do it, enjoy it. Because there's not a guarantee of when it's going to end. There's not a guarantee if it's going to continue. So enjoy it while you do it. And if you have fun while you're doing a job, they say you'll never work a day in your life. There's some truth to that. There's some kind of false hope in that. Because there's a lot of jobs that I really enjoyed doing, but there were some things, some parts of it that were pulling my hair out. And regardless, just enjoy it. Really have fun, because you have one life to live. And if you have the opportunity to have this as a career and have this as your means of income, means of a cool hobby, or means of anything, just really make the most of it and enjoy it. So that's it. That's my career. That's a breakdown, very, very Spark Notes-esque version of my career. And I know it was long. I appreciate you if you have watched it through the whole time. And it's really just something that I wanted to put out for you guys. It was inspired by a comment by you guys. I forget who it was, but thank you whoever sent that comment. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And keep an eye out for videos that I'm going to be putting out reacting to my old short films. That feature that is now broken down a little bit more. It's not really a full feature. It's like less than an hour, so somewhat a feature. More than a short, less than a feature. Regardless, we're going to get into that and be doing some more stuff like that. But other than that, we have other videos coming out. Shure SM7B, Zoom ZDM1, gonna be covering those, and comparisons revolved around those as well. So keep an eye out for those. I can't guarantee they're gonna be out before the end of the month. Things are kind of crazy right now in my life. As I said, second vaccination shot and the short film. I got a couple of jobs and a couple of things going on. So be patient with me. I promise that these videos will come out, and I promise I'll keep a steady dose of Rebel Tech content coming out in the future. And of course, until next time, be safe, be kind, and I'll see you in the next video. Perform a leap of faith into a haystack while ziplining? Do I look like Dick Grayson to you? Where the hell are the hay barrels? Or haystacks? Hey!